Welcome back to the Natural Fix Now podcast. I'm Emma, and today we're diving into a story that might sound a lot like your own. You know that moment when you wake up already exhausted? When your jeans don't fit anymore, and it feels like you've tried everything, diets, workouts, pills, and nothing changes? Well, if that's you, stay tuned because what you're about to hear could change the way you look at your mornings forever.
Thank you so much for having me, Emma. Honestly, just hearing you say that gave me chills, because that was me. For years, I lived in a body that didn't feel like mine anymore. I'm 42, I live in Texas, and after I turned 35, something shifted. My energy dropped, my metabolism slowed, and no matter how much I cut carbs or pushed myself at the gym, the scale barely moved. Worse than that, I felt invisible.
That sounds really hard. Sarah, what did you mean by feeling invisible?
It's like people saw me, but they didn't see me. At family gatherings, I avoided cameras. At work, I sat at the back of meetings, just hoping no one noticed how much weight I'd gained. Even at church, where I used to be confident and sing in the choir, I found myself making excuses not to go. I hated mirrors. I hated shopping. And deep down, I started believing this was just how life was going to be from now on. Tired, overweight, and ashamed.
And I'm guessing you tried a lot of things before you found what worked.
Oh yes, keto, fasting, shakes, even expensive miracle teas. Nothing lasted. I'd lose 2 pounds and gain back 4. And the worst part? Every failure made me feel weaker. Like I wasn't just failing a diet. I was failing myself as a woman, as a mom, as a wife. That pain, it goes deeper than numbers on a scale.
So Sarah, in the middle of all that frustration, what was the turning point? What made you discover something different?
It's funny, because it didn't come from a doctor or some ad online. It came from a phone call with a friend, Linda. She's a close friend from my church, but she had moved to Florida a couple years ago. We hadn't talked in months. Then one day, she sent me a picture on WhatsApp, and I almost didn't recognize her. She looked radiant, slimmer, glowing skin, energy in her eyes. My first reaction was literally, "Okay, what filter did you use?"
That's such a classic reaction. And what did she say?
She laughed too and said, "No filter, Sarah. This is real. I found something that changed my mornings." I couldn't believe it. She told me about this natural juice formula inspired by the people of Ikaria, this little island in Greece where people are known for living longer and healthier than almost anywhere else in the world. She said it was called Ikaria Juice. And Emma, my first thought was, here we go again. Another internet gimmick. But the way Linda spoke, it wasn't hype. It wasn't a sales pitch. She was genuinely excited, and she knew the battles I was facing because she had lived them too.
So what made you actually give it a chance, instead of dismissing it like the others?
Honestly, desperation, but also trust. Linda told me, "Sarah, I'm not saying this will do magic overnight, but it works with your body instead of against it. It's not about starving yourself. It's about healing from the inside." That hit me. Healing. That's a word I hadn't connected to weight loss before. Usually it's punishment. No carbs, no sugar, endless workouts. But healing? That sounded kinder. And I thought, if Linda could feel and look that amazing, maybe, just maybe, there was hope for me too.
And that's when you decided to order it?
Yes. I went to the official site, like she insisted. She warned me there were fake versions out there, so I made sure to get the real deal. I remember staring at the confirmation email and thinking, please let this be different. It felt like one last shot.
So the Ikaria Juice arrived. Walk us through that first day. What was it like to actually start?
I remember the morning so clearly. It was a Monday, and normally Mondays were the worst for me. Heavy, sluggish, craving coffee just to survive. I opened the jar, scooped the powder, and mixed it with water. Honestly, I expected it to taste awful. like those chalky shakes I'd wasted money on before. But it was surprisingly smooth. Herbal, slightly fruity, not bad at all. I thought, okay, at least I won't gag drinking this.
That's already a win in itself. But when did you notice something different?
The first week, I didn't expect much. But by day 3, I realized something subtle. I wasn't reaching for cookies at 10 a.m. That craving monster that usually screamed inside me was quiet. By day 5, I noticed my energy wasn't crashing mid-afternoon. And then, one morning in week 2, I looked in the mirror and my stomach looked a little less puffy. It wasn't dramatic, but it was enough for me to feel hope again. And Emma, hope is powerful.
Wow, so even small changes started giving you momentum.
Exactly. And it wasn't just physical. Emotionally, I felt lighter. When I wasn't constantly fighting cravings, I had more brain space for other things. My mood lifted. I could laugh with my kids without feeling like I had this cloud of shame over me. It was like someone had turned the lights back on in my life.
And the scale, did it start moving too?
Yes, but slowly. And that's what made it real. By the end of week 3, I was down about 4 pounds. That may not sound like much, but it was consistent. No yo-yo, no starving, just steady progress. And every morning, that ritual reminded me I was doing something good for myself.
That's such an important point. So many people think results have to be instant. But sustainable, natural change takes time. And it sounds like the Ikaria Juice was doing more than just helping you lose weight. It was helping you rebuild trust with your own body.
Yes. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like my body was my enemy. It was like, oh, we're working together again. That shift alone was life-changing.
So Sarah, after those first few weeks, what started to change on a deeper level beyond just the number on the scale?
Emma, it felt like I was getting my life back. It wasn't about a smaller waistline. It was about freedom. Freedom to laugh without tugging at my shirt. Freedom to go to birthday parties and not dread the photos. I started smiling again, really smiling. For the first time in years, I looked at a picture of myself and didn't want to delete it instantly.
That must have been such a powerful moment.
It was. But the biggest shift? My relationships. My husband. He started noticing me again. He reached for my hand on the couch, something we hadn't done in so long. And my kids. One day, my daughter looked at me and said, "Mom, you're glowing." Emma, I can't describe what that did to me. For years, I felt like I was disappearing. Now, I was shining again.
That's beautiful, and it shows how our health impacts so much more than just our bodies. It touches our families, our confidence, even our faith in ourselves.
Yes. And I also noticed my sleep improved. I wasn't tossing and turning all night anymore. My mornings felt lighter. Even my joints, which used to ache after simple walks, felt better. And then, the clothes? I pulled out a dress I hadn't worn in 5 years. It slid on easily. I stood there in front of the mirror, tears in my eyes. Not because of the dress, but because of what it represented. I wasn't broken. I was healing.
That's so powerful, and I love that word, healing. Because so often, weight struggles are treated like a numbers game. But it's about restoring balance and trust with our bodies.
Exactly. And Ikaria Juice reminded me of that every day. It wasn't a punishment. It wasn't deprivation. It was a daily act of kindness toward myself. And slowly, that kindness spread into every area of my life.
Sarah, you mentioned something earlier that really struck me, that this wasn't about punishment, it was about healing. And I think a lot of people listening don't realize that weight gain, especially after 35 or 40, often isn't about laziness or lack of willpower. It's about biology. Have you learned more about why Ikaria Juice actually works the way it does?
Yes, Emma, and honestly, it blew my mind. I used to think metabolism was just about calories in, calories out. But I learned from Linda, and later I read more about it. that the real villain for many of us is something called ceramides. These are toxic compounds that build up in our bodies and basically clog our system. They make the liver sluggish, the fat cells expand, and they tell your body to store more and more fat, especially around the belly.
Exactly. And what Ikaria Juice does is so unique. It directly targets those ceramides. Its natural blend helps flush them out, so your metabolism can finally wake up again. That's why it feels different from crash diets or stimulants. You're not forcing your body, you're supporting it.
Yes, that was the first time I felt like a product was actually working with me, not against me. And I started researching the ingredients too. Things like resveratrol, which supports heart health and longevity. EGCG from green tea, which boosts fat burning. Citrus pectin, which helps detoxify. Fucoxanthin, a seaweed extract that's amazing for metabolism. These aren't synthetic chemicals, they're nature's gifts. And my body responded to them like it had been waiting all along.
I love that because when people hear the word supplement, they often think of something artificial. But Ikaria Juice is rooted in tradition, inspired by the people of Ikaria, that Greek island where living to 90 or 100 isn't unusual. They don't count calories, they don't obsess over diets. They simply live in harmony with natural rhythms, and this formula captures that wisdom.
I love that. Because when people hear the word supplement, they often think of something artificial. But Ikaria Juice is rooted in tradition, inspired by the people of Ikaria. That Greek island where living to 90 or 100 isn't unusual. They don't count calories. They don't obsess over diets. They simply live in harmony with natural rhythms. And this formula captures that wisdom.
Yes, that word again, sustainable, because the goal isn't just to lose pounds, it's to gain years of energy, confidence, and joy. Sarah, your story is so inspiring, and I want our listeners to know you're not the only one. When I started this podcast, I began hearing from so many women who shared similar journeys with Ikaria Juice, and the patterns are amazing.
Oh, absolutely. I've connected with women in online groups too, and their stories give me chills. Like Rachel from Florida. She's 39, and she told me she finally ran her first 5K after losing 28 pounds. She said she cried at the finish line, not because of the race, but because for the first time she felt strong again.
Yes, and Marta from Texas, she sent me an email last week. She said she cried in a dressing room, but not out of frustration. She cried because, for the first time in a decade, everything fit. She couldn't believe it. That's freedom.
I love that. And then there's Jasmine from California. Her doctor actually reduced her blood pressure meds after 3 months on Ikaria Juice. It's not just about the mirror, it's about real health changes. And those changes ripple into every area of life.
Exactly, and I think that's what makes it so powerful. It's not a celebrity endorsement, it's not a fad. It's real women in real towns, with real families experiencing real healing. And when stories echo each other across states, from Texas to Florida to California, you know, it's not coincidence, it's a pattern of transformation.
And hearing those stories made me feel less alone. It's like we're part of this quiet movement of women reclaiming their health naturally. And that community energy is just as healing as the product itself.
Sarah, hearing your journey makes me think about all the women out there listening right now. Maybe they're sitting at their kitchen table, exhausted, scrolling through their phone, wondering if there's any hope left. So let me ask you, if someone is on the fence, doubting whether they can change, what would you say to them?
I'd say this. What if the problem isn't you? What if your body has been fighting for you all along, but it's been trapped behind toxins, stress, and years of misinformation? You are not broken. You are not lazy. And it doesn't have to stay this way. One small change, like adding Ikaria Juice to your mornings, could be the spark that flips everything around. If I hadn't taken that step, I'd still be stuck in the same cycle of frustration. So my advice, don't wait. Give yourself permission to try.
That's so powerful, and I want to echo that. If this story is resonating with you, don't ignore that nudge inside your heart. There's a reason you found this episode. There's a reason you're still listening. Sometimes God, or life, puts an answer right in front of us, but we hesitate. Don't hesitate with your health. Don't hesitate with your joy.
Yes, because life is too short to keep saying maybe someday. I wasted years in that mindset. And if you're hearing this right now, maybe this is your moment.
And just so our listeners know, if you're curious about Ikaria Juice, the official link is in the description below. Please make sure you only get it from the official source, so you know it's authentic and safe. Sarah, before we wrap up, I want to thank you for your honesty and courage. Your story isn't just about weight loss, it's about healing, hope, and taking back your life. And I know so many women listening needed to hear this today.
Thank you, Emma. I truly believe that if even one woman listening decides to take back control and believe in herself again, this conversation was worth it.
Absolutely, and to our listeners, remember this: you are not broken. You are not beyond repair, your body is designed to heal, and your heart is designed to hope. Don't settle for exhaustion and frustration. You deserve to feel good again, inside and out.
And if I could leave you with one message, it's this. Don't wait until you hit rock bottom. Start today. Small choices add up to big transformations. That's what Ikaria Juice did for me, and it can do the same for you.
So here's what I want you to do. If this story touched you, share it with a friend, a sister, or someone you know who's struggling. Let's spread this hope together, and if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode filled with real stories and powerful tips.
And don't forget to check the description for the official link to Ikaria Juice. That's where my journey began, and maybe it's where yours will too.
Thank you all for listening to episode of the Natural Fix Now podcast. Until next time, take care of yourself, believe in yourself, and remember, transformation is always possible.